I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, September the 16th, brought to you in part by Zactran. This time of the year is tough on calves. I tell you what, the big wide swings and the temperatures, and then a lot of these calves and new surroundings, and having separation anxiety from their mothers, and there's just a lot of stress. And stress opens a gate to bovine respiratory disease. You can slam it shut with Zactran. Remember to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit with your BI representative. There's a standoff going on here middle part of this week on your fat cattle sellers and your packers. We haven't sold any cattle to speak of yet this week, which in normal times wouldn't be out of the ordinary because it's only been through Monday and Tuesday, but of late we've been seeing a lot of cattle selling on Monday and Tuesday as we've seen some of these feedlots that typically sell cash trying to get rid of big cattle and trying to push the issue a little bit, but they're really tired of giving up a buck or two every week, and so they feel like they should be able to hold their ground this week. Your packers, the box beef cutout values have been dropping like a rock, which seasonally that's what they're supposed to do this time of year. But I mentioned on our last visit, it's the time of the year where the packers are due to give up part of their giant margins. And but you've got to have your cash cattle sellers put their foot down to make that happen. But we're just seeing kind of a standoff here. Likely our market will probably be close to steady for that reason. We're also seeing that kind of a standoff in our futures from the folks that continue to think that this market needs to rally on the board, and everybody else looking at the fundamentals of all these calves coming to town, and we've still got really heavy carcass weights, even though we've kind of got our numbers under control on our show list, our market ready fat cattle. But we saw that in your board on Tuesday. It opened lower and then ended at the end of the day. It was up some and up pretty good on your out front feeder cattle. But most everything on the bullish side is technical, and that's basically who trades a lot of your futures, and they're the only ones that ever go on the long side. Is your technical folks. They feel like the market's got some more rally in it. We wish that it did, but just because the charts say that it's supposed to doesn't mean it's going to happen. But your combines are starting to roll here. We are getting very on the cusp of harvest right here, and we've gotten down to where our spot month on our corn Chicago Board of Trade futures is now the new crop December. It was down 3.5 cents on Tuesday at 366, and it's too bad that our farmers, they raise these bumper crops just no matter what the conditions are anymore. We've got hybrids that can pretty much withstand everything, but they continue to raise these bumper crops and never really get a price for them when it comes harvest time. But it is time for that to happen. We've still got pretty aggressive farmer feeders out here that are wanting to add value to their corn that way. But it's kind of tough sledding, and as much as those farmers love to farm and nothing they'd rather do than crawl in that combine or pull the grain cart and reap their crop there, but it's just takes the fun out of it when you're not getting a big price for it. Let's look at the board on cattle on Tuesday. October live cattle futures were up 22 cents at 107.10. December down 12 cents at 111.57, so not much of anything, and about that way on your out fronts too, from down 27 to up 32 cents as you go on to your traded months on the out front. September feeder cattle up 17 cents at 141.67. October was up pretty good, up $1.10 at 143.70. Going out from there, they were pretty much all up for your forward months on feeder cattle, up 27 cents to up $1. Fat cattle trade, like I mentioned earlier, has been non-existent this week. You would sure think something would start to break loose, maybe not set the market, but a little bit of trickle should start happening on Wednesday. Your packers have been telling everybody that they don't need any cattle for the whole month of September, but they always say that. So they'll be looking to buy some cattle here before long, and even though our box beef cutout values for for their wholesale market on beef is down right now. We do expect that to turn around once we get into October, and we'll already see early buying for your holidays after we get into October. So a lot of these cattle that they'll be harvesting over the next several weeks may not end up being sold as a wholesale beef until that happens. They can backlog quite a bit of that stuff. But the only confirmed sales that we saw on a direct trade cash basis on Tuesday was a couple hundred head in Iowa at 103, and that's roughly steady. Like I said, box beef cutout values down. Choice cuts on Tuesday afternoon, 216.09 down $1.12. Selects 206.28 down 148. Movement has been down big here, especially coming off the huge movements of the panic buying that we saw during the worst of the COVID. But as your packers are struggling to hold the market on that wholesale beef, the movement has really gone down big. Let's talk about what else has been going on this week. Western Video Market had a video sale there at the Haythorne Ranch in Ogallala, Nebraska. Pretty snappy sale there. I'll give you a quote on some program cattle that sold there right out of the chute on Tuesday morning. The Signal Bluff Ranch with John Orr there, they sold some program cattle. They had 215 weaned steer calves just northwest of Ogallala there. Now, those cattle were not strictly green. They were on a commodity ration there in a big pasture lot. But the cattle were non-hormone treated. They were all natural and qualified for gap level 4, which is the big kicker on that. But 215 of those weaned ranch steer calves, 60 days weaned for early December delivery to weigh 750 pounds at 170 1/4. Make you want to get into one of those programs, wouldn't it? I've got a lot of sale barn quotes to give you guys. Your real-time index late in the day on Tuesday at 139.99, down just 2 cents after we saw a big drop-off on Monday. But the main reason for your big drop-off on Monday was losing those quotes from a week ago Monday on those Labor Day specials, especially out of Torrington. All those quotes out of Torrington were keeping that index level kind of inflated, but we've come off of those now, but holding kind of steady here, which is a good sign. Look at your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri, had 2,600 head. This time of year, not going to have a lot of yearlings in the barn there unless it's a special deal, but a lot of calves. And a lot of those calves will be unweaned, and some of them might be not the most desirable of quality, but they'll have every kind in West Plains. I've always said, been to West Plains countless times, I've always said West Plains is one place that you see reams full of every kind of quality of cattle, every kind of cattle that you've ever seen. You get them in West Plains, Missouri, and there's a market for them, guys. And a lot of those cattle that aren't as fancy have got a lot of condition to them, and they've got some continental breeding, and they've got a lot of stretch and a lot of go to them. But at West Plains on Tuesday, steer calves $2 to $3 lower. Heifers were kind of uneven. Yearlings not well tested, but been talking about the in-house video that they've been having there at Ozarks Regional, doing that through DV Auction, and we can sure help you guys out with that if you're wanting to do in-house videos. But you can also watch the sale there on dvauction.com every Tuesday and Wednesday for the cow sale, for that matter. But they had another 1,230 head of cattle, mostly yearlings, on their video, in-house video sale. I'll give you a quote out of there. They had 230 head of top quality steers there out of Missouri, which goes into the central area, which would go into your index because they are for nearby. But 230 had top quality steers there. There was 2 bunches of them, but they averaged 905 pounds at 132.75 on the average. That's pretty salty for that part of the country for steers weighing over 9. Now, how about a bunch of quotes coming out of different parts of the country, mostly through Cattle Market Central with DV Auction, but how about Rezac Livestock there, Denny Rezac Livestock Commission, I like to call it, 2,200 head of feeders there for the Tuesday sale in St. Mary's, Kansas. Look at this report that we get automated here out of Cattle Market Central, and they had a good run. They had a pretty good run last week too. You can see the quotes on your best tested weights And for the most part, your trend is steady to $4 lower there, but they had a heck of a sale last week, and this week is in comparison to that. But look at the best tested steers. You have 4 different weight groups of steers that are all really well tested. 311 head of 6-weight steers, and that's going to pull down on them a little bit, be all mostly calves, weighing 662 on the average at 146.24. That was about $2 lower. 348 head of the 7-weight steers averaged 761 at 142.50. That was actually up a little bit on the weighted average price from a week ago. 306 head of the 8-weight steers in St. Mary's averaged 845 at 140.21. That was almost $2 lower. And then 344 head of 9-weight steers at Rezac averaged 931 at 137.41. That was more than $4 lower, but a lot of those steers weighed up in the 9s quite a bit and pulling back, and last week they were just barely in the 9s, so you kind of have to take that into account. How about Philip the Giant? It's fall of the year. They're getting ready to start having big sales again under new ownership, but still powerful there. But I thought these were a couple of interesting quotes. They had 2 loads of steers weighing in the heavy 9s, averaging around 995 pounds at 136.50, and then 2 more loads that weighed just over 1,000 pounds, averaging just short of 1,010 pounds, 135.75 on a $102 fat cattle market. That's pretty salty too. How about Miles City, Montana? Miles City Livestock Commission. 51 head, 874 pound steers in Miles City bring 144.75. Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma. That's in the Oklahoma Panhandle, guys. It's dry there, has been for a long time. That's in no man's land, Oklahoma Panhandle there. Look at these quotes I got out of there on these steers. And look, and you notice there's 5 loads of 8-weight steers, and they're all in the 140s. That's pretty darn good for this far south in the southern plains. How about the top quote I see on there? 61 head, 834 pound steers, Beaver, Oklahoma, 147.25. Kimball Livestock Exchange, Kimball, South Dakota, the Christensen's up there. They have a heck of a good sales there. And look at these quotes. I got steers and heifers on there. Look at this heifer quote. 78 head of 686 pound heifers bring 151. Kimball, South Dakota. And then a big string of big steers, 234 head, 934 pound steers bring 142.75. But the top quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday come out of Creighton, Nebraska. Creighton Livestock Market, 178 head of steers weighed 955 at 144.50. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.